So I've created...
Oh, what the
I've created a wonderful avatar for our...
Stupid. Explain.
Okay, so on Xbox, you make a profile, and then your saves are tied to the profile. But Sonic 06 does not have any save slots, so every time you play, you need to make a brand new profile to get a new game started. You can't delete your save data within the game.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. What happens when
Yes, exactly
when the servers go down?
Exactly.
You can't play the game anymore?
Yes.
Well, the profiles are on your console. You don't have to make like an Xbox Live account or anything. So I made a wonderful Ethy Wonka avatar just for us.
That's me. Oh, we should explain what we're doing here. This is the Game Mavericks.
Yeah, we haven't done one of these in a while.
Game Mavericks. I thought it was 2 bottoms and 1 top. You gotta guess who's the top.
It has been a while since we last had sex. I'm just gonna say that. But yes, this is
the 3 of us.
Yes, that's what he was implying. Yes. So this is Sonic 06 for the Nintendo PlayStation. Oh, well, no wonder it's so quiet for you guys. Crank this up.
No, it's okay. You can keep it down.
But the music's good. It's just everything else is bad.
Nah.
Okay, the music is the best part of the game.
Oh, yeah.
Which we will see in a moment here. Now, there are 3 stories in this game. And speaking of 3 stories, I have brought 3 fan fictions today for us to choose from to read here on the show.
Yes.
Just kidding. I didn't have time to prep
don't tease me like that.
I was like,
we could certainly do that next time. No, we're already running late.
I was nervous because I'm not a fan of Sonic the Hedgehog at all, like you two are.
Well, you don't get a choice of being a Sonic fan. It kind of just happens.
Well,
just like the fan fiction, it just sort of happens.
Have you ever seen the Unversecast Sonic High School reading, Ethan?
With Uncle Mikey's fanfic section?
Yes, Uncle Mike's fanfic corner, which recently made a comeback on the Unversecast, everybody. Watch our award-winning reading of a fanfiction where Zelda and Link get locked in a closet and make out. It's wonderful. There's also a fanfiction we read where Trixie the Triceratops from Toy Story 3 and 4 lays eggs and has birth pangs. It's great.
God, I tell you, people just, their imagination knows no bounds, and it's great to peer in the minds of, what's the term?
Speaking of Toy Story, that's what these human beings look like.
That's being way too nice.
No, you two know darn tootin' well that they look better than 1995 Toy Story.
What I'm saying is...
You know what it looks like? I'm going to say these graphics look fantastic for 2006.
Oh, yeah, no.
The environments do, and those particles. Like, this is decent quality CG. I'm saying that the humans look like Hannah and Sid from Toy Story.
They do not. They look much more realistic.
They look plasticky, and they look awkward. They don't look like octopi.
They look tasteless and lukewarm.
It's that Final Fantasy kind of look, and the realistic Final Fantasy person kind of look thing.
Looks good. They move more realistically and gooder than the first Toy Story from 1995. They look approximately 11 years better.
I recently rewatched the Toy Story trilogy in 4K. Like, they remastered the first 2 movies in 4K. And CG holds up decently well, all things considered.
Do you stream that on Disney Plus or what?
No, I got the Blu-ray.
The Blu-ray, you know.
The 4K Blu-ray. Which is where I also got all the Star Trek films, which you and I still need to watch when you come over next.
Hey guys, it's the Sonic. He's gonna save the day.
Oh yeah,
they changed the design of the Sonic a bit.
They had to make him look. They decided that cool was too out of style, and that he had to look awesome. He had to look awesome for this game. He's no longer cool, now he's awesome.
Don't think there was a lot of thought when this game was being made. I think it was just, hey, you know Sonic? Yeah, well, yeah. Elaborate?
Yeah,
no,
well, yeah.
I won't elaborate. That is Sonic 06.
By the way, you might have noticed that Alonzo is recording his audio live in a telephone booth
Yes.
in the middle of Prescott, Arizona.
I would never live in Prescott, Arizona.
My grandparents live in Prescott Valley.
Yeah, exactly, you snowbirds.
Why is Alonzo...
Ruining our nice state with your snowbirds.
Yeah, this is my favorite part about, 7th generation games, is when the jarring difference between the pre-rendered graphics to in-game graphics is just like so drastic that it's just jarring. Like, holy cow. There's like no sound effects in the background. It just is really quiet. There's no music.
I think it's a little bit also this game as well is very just not built well.
Well, that's what makes this game such an interesting oddity in video game history.
It's a case study.
Because I don't know if you guys remember in like 2014 when Rise of Lyric came out, everybody was like, that's the worst Sonic game ever at the time, and I was...
What was?
Sonic Boom, The Rise of Lyric for Nintendo Wii U. When that game came out, people went to a frenzy about how terrible it was, and now nobody talks about that game anymore. And at the time, I was the usual contrarian Mikey. I was like, this game's not that bad, even though it is, in fact, pretty bad. But in my defense, one of the points I was kind of making is Sonic 06 is a game that has a legacy. It's a game that people still talk about. And people don't talk about Rise of Lyric anymore, but they sure do talk about this game still, even now, especially with Project 06 being a thing.
Sonic Boom, Rise of Fuck You!
Well,
I remember I did that voiceover for your
that's
review
right.
that you took
were
down.
Jack Cass from IGN.
Yeah.
See, it looks like Toy Story. It looks like Hannah and Sid. It's very bad.
That guy's got hair. Okay, so this is finally Sonic 06. I know nothing about this. Well, I watched the Game Grumps play through 1,000 times, but that's because I just listen to it. I don't actually watch what's going on necessarily.
For me, that's best of the worst.
It's going to be loading and gameplay.
But this is
that's the game.
This is the corn box version though, so
it's still bad.
It loads fast like Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yes.
Right?
No.
Did he just pat Tails on the ass?
Why not?
You've played this.
They've known each other so long.
You've played this game annually for 15 years, and you have never noticed if he touched Tails on the keister. Tails, I'm gonna pop you in the keister. Wow, Sonic!
If I'm looking for, there are better places to find it than this game. That's just all I'm gonna say.
Why are you talking about that? Like, where was the segue to that?
Well,
the
you know
Sonic
what they
fandom.
Yeah. Did you hear the wonderful controversy that erupted over Emmy Jones and Ryan Drummond, Ethan?
Who are these people? I don't know them.
I am lost too.
Alberto Robert, who looks like a PlayStation 2 man. He wants to make the ultimate shoes, so we're gonna play a shitty minigame. But basically, Emmy Jones is I think she's like a single working mother who got into voice acting for Sonic somehow. I think she was in Big's Big Fishing Adventure 3 or something. And apparently at some point, she started dating the guy who voiced Sonic in Sonic Adventure 1, Sonic Adventure 2, and Sonic Heroes. His name is Ryan Drummond. And I think he might have been in Sonic Shuffle as well. But they dated, and apparently, as a weird sex thing, in their private time, they would roleplay being Sonic and Tails.
Oh,
and then somehow
he looks like the kind of guy that would do that.
And somehow
they're the actual voice actors for the game, or what?
Okay, so the actual voice actor, Emmy Jones, has not voiced Tails in any of the mainline games, but she has done it for like cartoons and that Big's Big Fishing Adventure 3 April Fool's game. So it's like, so she has voiced Tails in some things, but it's not like any of the actual games.
Unofficial stuff.
So like in their private time while they were dating, they would roleplay being Sonic and Tails. And somehow this audio got leaked. I think there was like a disgruntled mutual friend who hated Emmy Jones and decided to upload that. Someone in the chat can explain this better than I can, because I was just like, what?
So they recorded it and shared their recording with friends?
It's kind of like the Pamela Anderson, Tommy Lee sex tape that got leaked. Like, they recorded it, but they never meant for anybody else to ever see it.
Oh, he was Sonic in Sonic Advance 3, Sonic Heroes, Sonic Battle.
Sonic Battle?
Yeah, that's a
Sonic
Game Boy
Battle.
Advance
That's a really
game.
fun Game Boy game.
Sonic Battle. Just like Metal Gear Survive.
No. More like Smash Bros. But 2D.
And Mario Run.
Has anybody ever actually played Metal Gear Survive?
No. I haven't. The last new game I played was Last of Us 2, and that was in 2020. E-Dog does not have time for modern games anymore. Actually, nope. Right now I'm playing It Takes Two, and I think that's from last year.
Yeah, you were telling me that you were playing that with your wife, and I'm like, but isn't that game about like a husband and wife divorcing? Uh-oh.
Well, it's still like them like basically getting a better relationship because they're still trying to raise their daughter and everything, but like not necessarily that divorce is all bad.
I knew it was a 2-player game. That's all, and that you can work collaboratively with somebody. And Nicole and I have been trying to play a few games here and there. I finally convinced her to play Goof Troop with me on the Super Nintendo. And it's a really easy game, and we beat it in one sitting, and it was fun. It was like this moment of triumph because I've always loved games, but she's never been interested. So we finally played a game and beat it together. I was like, okay, now we can play some other games. I played Super Mario World, and she rage quit. So
of all time. The game that I beat when I was a little kid, and Mikey sucked at video games as a kid.
I've never beaten Super Mario World, but
well, that's probably more a function of boredom than rage quitting.
No, she got angry because she couldn't.
No, I'm talking about you.
The difference in skill level. Like, her skill level is like that of somebody who's never played games before in their life. Whereas, like, the level I was when I was 4 years old, right?
Well, my mom has, like, a cousin named Anessa or something, like some kind of name. And she came over she visited us.
Describe a name, Mikey.
Watch the famous scene from the 2012 movie Tet, where Mark Wahlberg and Seth MacFarlane list off a name of female names. But she had like a 5-year-old son named Bodhi, which is a name I've never heard of before. He's like my second cousin or something. And while he was over at our house, we showed him Mario Kart 8, and it was like impossible how bad he was at that game because he had never played a video game before, and he was also a small child. So they ended up getting him a 2DS to play with after that. So we've got Tails.
Yeah, he sucked so bad at the game that I gave him 2 phones, and then I said, you can't use 2 phones, and then I beat him up.
I like how you still remember that story.
It's just, hey, you can't use 2 phones, so I beat her up.
And then I remember Alonzo hearing the story and he's like, no, Michael being picky and particular about something? I can't believe it.
So what the deal is with Tails? Does he actually throw fake rings as a weapon?
Yes. Okay, so I want to say it's based on Sonic Heroes. Like, Sonic Heroes had the 3 formations, and there was like a mechanic where you could leave all 3 of your characters on switches to open doors. And I want to say, if you only have Tails, Rouge, or whoever left, then their backup attack is dummy ring bombs.
Yep.
So they brought that back for this game, even though it makes no sense. Because it's this...
Dummy ring bombs.
Yes, that's what they're called. And there's another extra guy over here. Like, this game has okay-ish level design. Like, there's some decent qualities to it. Like, if you dig into the nitty-gritty. Because I have to imagine that some of the people who worked on the adventure games and Heroes worked on this as well.
Oh, slow down. Oh.
That's just normal for this game.
I've never played it.
Yeah.
This is one of the
you are
few...
experiencing...
This is one of the few Xbox 360 games I know of that runs at 720p 60 FPS. Like, every other 360 game runs at some god-awful resolution in 30 FPS. So what that means is, anytime the game gets well, it means a few things. Number one, it means that the shading and the graphics are relatively simplistic relative to some of the later games on the system. But it also means that if the game, if the performance drops,
segments.
Oh yeah,
if the performance.
Tell us about the mock segment while we're here.
Okay, they
then
suck.
Go back to that story. Go back to that story later.
Go back to the boring technobabble later, Mikey.
I want to see. Yeah. I want to talk about the now.
I want to talk about the mock speed sections.
Aren't these infamous for being really super difficult?
Okay, well the problem with them is that in a later Sonic game, like the Boost games, you'd be like locked on a like a axis, like you just move left to right, you wouldn't turn while you do it. So this is kind of like, it's Sonic Adventure controls in a Boost Sonic type level design, and it doesn't work because like you always turn when you move, and if you hit something, you lose your rings, and if you hit something again, you die. And while you're jumping, you can't steer. And that loop-de-loop I just ran through, if you run at it at the wrong angle, you'll fall off the ledge instead of hitting that...
Whoa. Why can't Sonic just slow down?
Because there's only go.
Why doesn't Sonic run at the speed of sound all the time? Because he doesn't want to.
Because he doesn't want to.
Yes.
You gotta be a loser. Aren't you going for an all-A run?
Not this time. Maybe I'll practice up for whenever we do Resident Evil 2 or something, but...
Resident Evil 2?
Resident Evil 2 is a great game.
Yes. Both versions of Resident Evil 2.
Since when have you been into Resident Evil?
Since when haven't you?
So I finally played Resident Evil 4 for the first time.
Really? Hold on.
Earlier this...
The remake or the original?
The original.
Oh, crap. Really?
I finally played the original for the first time, like, a few months ago.
Your princess has been moved to another castle, Tails.
Thank you, Tails.
What the hell is this? What are they doing right now?
They're looking
for the princess.
They're looking for Hannah Phillips.
I have not paid any attention to the story whatsoever.
I have not given two fucks this whole time.
No, pretty much. In case you two haven't noticed, when I started the session by saying I'm not a fan of Sonic.
Yeah,
I'm generally not interested in any of the games, so I'm happy to be here hanging with my friends. But as far as what's going on here, I am not that invested.
Yeah, well,
throw it in the trash.
Throw it in the trash.
Wait till we get
you guys
silver.
have talked to me more than he has recently.
Who?
Eric. Let's see. Because I like to annoy Eric. Recently, I've been on a bit of a Star Trek kick. I'm almost done with Deep Space Nine, and earlier this year I finished Next Gen. And I like to annoy Eric because when we were kids, he used to annoy the fuck out of me all the time. So to get revenge,
throw it in the trash. Throw it in the trash.
Shut up. To get revenge, I like to send him like pictures of famous actors he would be aware of that have been in Star Trek. It's like the camera instantaneously changes angles when you go through the thing, so it's like impossible to know what you're supposed to press. Anyways.
Sonic 06 and bad controls, I'd never heard of that.
And then there's a small.
Hey, Alonzo's here. How's it going, buddy?
They kidnapped Eddie Murphy.
Just listen, as the non-Sonic fan keeps running his mouth in this game when he should be listening and shutting up.
Well, tell me what are you up to these days, Alonzo? I haven't
Yeah.
I haven't speaked to Alonzo in 36 years since our Mega Man 18 playthrough in 2018.
Wait,
since we played
11?
Mega Man 2000 for the Sega Game Gear.
It was Mega Man 11. I don't think I've spoken to Alonzo since then. So this is kind of like, hey, buddy, how's it going?
Yeah,
there's like you guys on Discord.